7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Bumper to bumper action. These guys are keeping it close here.
It's awesome to see these drivers all driving to the limit, all of them driving the same cars, separating the boys from the men.
They have to be able to take the risk.
Coming in on the inside, trying to brake a little bit later inside. A bit of tire contact there, and there is contact.
Be patient and wait for that moment where he makes another mistake.
But that's all it takes with sim racing. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the highly anticipated Toyota Gazoo Racing Singapore eSports GT Championship finale. My name is Hong, and I will be your host and commentator for this year's 2025 edition. We're coming to you live from Singapore, and we have an exciting night of what is sure to be a nail-biting series of races from start to finish. This season's driver lineup, features some well-established names in the sim racing community, such as Fadris Issa and Ethan Yeo, but also sees many new competitors joining in, some for the very first time to keep things fresh and unpredictable. I'm proud to share that for this year's championship, we have had a record number of participants sign up. So, on behalf of Toyota Singapore, all the organizers and crew, a massive thank you to all who joined us. In order to qualify for tonight's national finals, which will start momentarily, all 50-plus participants had to first qualify in the time trials at the Tokyo Expressway Central in the Toyota GR Corolla. From there, the top 24 drivers from the time trials then had to battle it out in the semi-finals. At the end of those challenges, our top 12 contenders who will be competing in tonight's final 3 races were determined. Now, before we roll the highlights reel from the semifinals, a little more about Toyota Gazoo Racing, organizers behind the spectacular racing series. Toyota Gazoo Racing, or TGR in short, is the brainchild of Toyota's commitment towards making ever better cars. Toyota's history in motorsports spans well over 6 decades, and by harnessing the knowledge gained from extreme motorsports conditions while refining every aspect of their cars for all types of road conditions, Toyota Gazoo Racing continues to push the limits for the better. Competitors tonight will be competing in Gran Turismo 7, which brings together the very best features of a real driving simulator by recreating the feel and look of bleeding-edge supercars in unparalleled detail, bringing the world of realistic car racing to life and delivering a competitive sim racing experience in style. So, before we kick off the national finals happening shortly, let's first take a quick look at who our top 24 finalists are before checking out the highlights from this year's semifinals. Alright, so here are your top 24. Fadris Issa in first, Ethan Yeo takes second, Jared takes third, and Regis Tay in fourth position. Fifth goes to Faris, sixth goes to Hugo, seventh goes to Amirul, and eighth goes to Pauzi. In 9th, we have Douglas Lim. In 10th, Hakimi. 11th goes to Dan Tan, and John Wong takes the final 12th spot. And in 13th, Lee Wenzi. Iwei takes 14th, Roshan in 15th, and Jutai takes 16th. 17th goes to Shintake. Aurelius takes 18th, Hakimi takes 19th, and Elroy in 20th. Your final 4, Paulo in 21st, Olviga in 22nd, Timothy in 23rd, and Harold in 24th. So here we go for the highlights from the semi-finals. So the top 24 drivers in the semi-finals will be split into 2 groups, 12 drivers in Group A and 12 drivers in Group B. The objective, very, very simple. Accumulate as much points as possible in the race to get into the top 12. Now the drivers had to do 10 laps at Tsukuba circuit in the Toyota GR86 and followed by 6 laps at Dragon Trail Gardens in the Toyota GR Yaris, which we'll be seeing momentarily. You can see a lot of these drivers really pushing the cars to the limit, and there's no better car to push it on Tsukuba than the GR86. Now, I'm watching all this with you guys for the very, very first time as well, and I have to say, it seems like some of the newcomers are performing exceptionally well. Look at that beautiful clean overtake on the inside by Mariana Works. Now, the question on everyone's mind at this moment, I'm sure, because it's on my mind as well, would probably be whether or not these new drivers, some of whom we've not seen before, will they be posing a real threat to the more established names? And at this moment, it seems, well, I'm going to say yes, it does seem like they will be. Now, here are the drivers in the GR Yaris. And some of the familiar names are still up at the top. I think it was kind of expected that the veterans like Fudris and Ethan will be able to perform and perform well. It seems like they did, dominating the races in their respective groups to come up at the very top. You can see here as they cross the start-finish line towards the end of their 6-lap race. So here we have our finalists, the top 12, the drivers who will be competing in tonight's live 3-race finale battle, and you can see all the point systems already tabulated out there. Thank you so much to drivers from 13th to 24 for joining us as well. A little bit practice, and I'm sure 2026 will be a little bit more exciting for all of you. As you would expect from this level of sim racing, an incredible display of skill and talent from all 24 semi-finalists. And congratulations to the 12 finalists who will be competing in tonight's finale. Now, before we continue with tonight's broadcast, for all of you who are watching this live stream, first of all, thank you for joining us. The second of all would be, would you like to win a special prize from us? Now, here's a chance to win an authentic, yep, I'm grabbing it from under the table, an authentic Gazoo Racing cap. Just answer this question correctly and we will pick a lucky winner in the comments section. Ready? Which Gazoo Racing model just launched in Singapore at the start of 2025? Now, here is a quick hint. I had the honor to have been the host for Toyota Singapore at this year's Singapore Motor Show and was privileged to have unveiled that car during the event. Now, I can't give hints aside from the hints that I just gave, so good luck to all of you. Now, if you know the answer or if you think you know the answer, type them into the comments section right now. And obviously, you need to get the correct answer in order to win. And on behalf of Toyota Singapore, thank you for participating. The winner will be announced on Toyota Singapore's social channels on the 22nd of September. So do remember to follow us, and good luck to all of you who are competing for this really cool cap. Now, before we proceed on to the first of 3 races, let's first take a look at the points system, game settings, and sporting regulations for tonight. So, the final race 1 and race 2 in first position, 20 points, second position, 15 points, 12 points to third, 10 points to fourth, 9 points to fifth, and so on. Now, counter steering assist and active stability management is prohibited during the race. BOP is turned on. Shortcut penalty is turned on. Tire wear and fuel wear is enabled during the race. For the finals race 1, the drivers will be competing in the GR Supra Race Car GT4 at Fuji Speedway. This is a full track, 4.57 kilometers with 16 corners. Now, ghosting is also set to weak to allow for realistic overtaking. Finally, there will also be tire wear and fuel consumption set for all 3 races. So the drivers will need to give it their all, but at the same time, they will need to manage their tires. They'll need to manage their fuel consumption. It's not as easy as just going full pedal to the metal. Okay, so I was just given the go-ahead from the producers. It seems that all the competitors have successfully logged in and are ready to go racing. The time has come. The time is now. Join me as we watch history in the making. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2025 Toyota Gazoo Racing Singapore eSports GT Championship Finals. You're now with the drivers in the qualifying session here at Fuji Speedway. And let's just take a quick look at how far they've gone. Seems like most of the drivers have completed 3 laps already. Fastest lap going to Ethan's, I believe that's Ethan Yo, yes, with a lap time of 1 minute and 49, pretty much 1 minute 49 flat. That's a very, very impressive lap time indeed. In second position at this moment is Kokoroy. This is the final lap, by the way. RZ Mystic in third, barely 200ths of a second behind. JZ in fourth, and Lethal Sivia in fifth. Now let's see if they're gonna, here they come, all the drivers in fact coming onto the final sector of Fuji Speedway, and this being the final lap to see if any of the drivers will be able to improve on their lap times. Cameron now on Lethal Sivia, over to HKM80X. Also coming up here onto the final couple of corners at Fuji Speedway. Beautiful, beautiful Mount Fuji in the background as always. Okay, so we have the lap times coming in as the drivers cross the start-finish line. Ethan seems to be still at the very top of that list. Kokoroy in second, Mystic in third. The question is, who's going to be taking fourth position for the starting grid for the race? Lethal in fifth, HKM80 in seventh, Mariana Works in 8th, Fujiwara right now crossing that line in 9th position. Now if you look at the lap times and the gap difference between the drivers, they're not that far apart, especially for the top 5 drivers, I want to say, or maybe the top 6, and it's a very impressive lap times. There we go, we have our qualifying race results ready as well. Fudges is with the fastest lap time of 1 minute 48.259 seconds. Ethan Yo is really not that far behind, 0.5 of a second. In fact, that is very, very impressive lap times. Alright, so this year's championship title will go to the racer with the highest points accumulated across all 3 races. For final race 1 and race 2, from 1st till 12th positions, drivers will be awarded points in the following order: 20 points, followed by 15, 12, 10, 9, 8, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1 respectively. And for final race 3, 25 points for the first place finisher, followed by 18, 15, 12, 10, 8, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1 respectively. Now on to the sporting regulations and game settings. This is to ensure a fair and competitive environment. The race organizers have mandated these settings for all. Counter steering, assist, and active stability management is prohibited during the race. BOP, or balance of performance, will be switched on, as well as penalties for taking shortcuts and wall collisions to keep drivers driving within their limits, or rather the track limits. Ghosting is set to weak for realistic overtaking, and finally there will be tire wear and fuel consumption set for all 3 races. Now, it seems like, there we go. This is the track that the drivers will be competing in for the finals race 1, the car being the Toyota GR Supra GR4 race car in GT4 trim. And the drivers will be racing at Fuji Speedway. There's a full circuit, full course, 4.57 kilometers, 16 corners. And here we are already straight into qualifying session for tonight. Now, this is live, and let's see what's happening right now. Drivers are on lap number 3, it seems, and no surprises there. Ethan Yo, I believe, is in first position. Kokoroy in second, Mystic in third, JZ in fourth, Lethal Sivia in fifth. Now they are here at Fuji Speedway. The weather looks pretty good actually. And fastest lap time so far is Ethan's with a 1 minute 49.004, basically a 149 flat. That's a very good lap time for qualifying. But you can see from the list on the left side of your screens, the drivers in second, third, they're not too far behind either. 1/10 of a second, 1/100th of a second. So they're just marginally fractions away from each other, which means if this qualifying is anything to go by, the race that will be happening after this qualifying session will be an exciting one. This is the final lap, ladies and gentlemen, of the qualifying session, which means time is running out. You can see the drivers now clearing the final sector of Fuji Speedway. I think Ethan's crossing the start-finish line momentarily. And what was that lap time? has not showed up yet. Yeah, but the drivers are crossing the start-finish line already on the front straight here at Fuji Speedway, and let's see if any of the drivers shift position to get into a better starting position for the starting grid of the race that starts momentarily from now. Seems like the top 4 or 5 drivers are pretty much locked in. 7th goes on to HKM80X as he or she crosses the start finish line. Fujiwara here in 9th, Kui Pao in 10th, Douglas Lim I believe in 11th. Yes, we have all the drivers already crossing the start finish line. Here we have the results from qualifying race 1, and no surprises there. Fadris Issa in first, top position with the fastest lap time of 1 minute 48.259. Ethan Yeo in second, 4/10 of a second rather behind Fadris Issa, so they're not too far away from each other. Idris in third, Hugo Clinton in fourth, 149. Jared Zulkifly in fifth, also a 149. If you look at the drivers in the timing, at least for the timing, between driver number 1 and driver number 6, they're all within 1 second of each other. That is testament to how good all these drivers are. It's also very obvious that they put in a lot of effort into practicing for this annual finale. In 6th, Regis Tay. 7th goes to Hakimi. Faris bin Issa in 8th. John Wong in 9th. Firdaus in 10th, Douglas Lim in 11th, and Dan Tan in 12th. In fact, the lap times are all very, very impressive, and I believe the race that we're going to see very shortly, in fact, the race that is going to start very, very soon. We're going to see a very exciting race. I'm confident of that. 6 laps here at Fuji Speedway, and we're just waiting for the lights to go green. I'm sure all 12 drivers are nervous and excited. Here we are. The lights are starting. They're going to flash red, and then they go green. And then lights are off. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. This is final race 1 of the 2025 edition of the Toyota Gazoo Racing Esports Championship Singapore, and it is a very clean start. All 12 drivers seem to have pushed away with no incidents there. Ethan on the outside, and Fadris inside the inside, holding on to that first position. He fought so hard to get into pole position, but here you can see the drivers now wheel to wheel. It's not just the first 2 drivers, but there's a battle for 3rd, a battle for 4th, a battle for 5th. All these drivers are really pushing the cars to the limit. This is the Supra GT4 version, and so it's got fantastic handling characteristics, more than enough power to bring these drivers in and out of corners here at Fuji Speedway, which is needed because this circuit does require a certain amount of power, and power is what these drivers are all about, as well as handling and grip. And it seems like we have an interesting battle here for 4th. Look at these 3 drivers going pretty much 3 wide, side by side, bumper to bumper, already on the first lap of the 6 lap race. I'm sitting at the edge of my seat already, and we're just starting the night. Night's still young for us, but night's not young for the drivers, because they are now fighting not just for glory and bragging rights, but for a chance to represent Singapore in the Asia Finals, which happens in Bangkok, Thailand this year, no longer in Kuala Lumpur. We're now on board with Fadris Issa, who's in 2nd position. It seems like Ethan was able to take that spot away from him, come up on top as they clear the final corner here at Fuji Speedway and onto the front straight. This is a really, really long front straight, so I think Fadris Issa has a bit of advantage here because he's able to catch the slipstream of Ethan, and you can see that they are indeed bumper to bumper. If this was real life racing, I mean, if I was in a car, I'll be scared. They're doing 220 kilometers per hour, 250, I believe, by the end of this front straight as they brake as late as they dare. I think that's pretty much the 100-meter mark, probably standing on the top of their brakes as they enter into the first corner, which is pretty much a hairpin turn. So it takes a lot of courage, it takes a lot of determination and a lot of commitment to drive at this level, at this intensity for a short sprint race. But you can see these 2 drivers have slowly but surely started to peel away from the main group. I know it's only 12 drivers, but there is still a group that is building up. Driver 1, 2, 3, 3rd driver Mystic, 4th driver Lethal, 5th driver Kokoroy, 6th driver JZ, 7th is Fujiwara, and Kui Pao in 8th position. A little bit of a train building up, and now we're going to see if any driver makes any mistakes. That's also a great opportunity for overtaking. And you can see that style of driving between these two in first and second. Fudges Issa just staying very close to the tail of Ethan, waiting to see if Ethan makes any mistakes. And at driving at this level, any small mistake would be exploited by the other driver. And also at the same time, Fudges is able to apply a lot of pressure. So being in that front leading position, leading the race, is not necessarily always the best position to be in, because you would be under immense pressure from the driver behind, especially if the driver behind is fast. As you can see here from this roof view, that slipstream kicking in, and Fudges Issa now coming on to the right side as they cross the start finish line for the second time. They are side by side, mirror to mirror, wheel to wheel racing here at the front straight, towards the end of the front straight, and Issa holding on to the inside line. Will he be braking earlier or not? No, they're braking at pretty much the same time. Fudges Issa takes that first position away from Ethan as they come into turn 2 here at Fuji Speedway. But if I know Ethan well enough, and I do kind of know him well enough, he is not letting go of that position. He's going to fight tooth and nail to try to regain that first position that he originally took away from Fudges Issa, who was our pole sitter at the start of this race. Exact same thing I said earlier, being ahead, leading the race, if the person chasing you is equally as good. You can see a little bit of pushing the limits there. The no track limit penalty, that's handled by Gran Turismo 7 itself, so there's no issues there, but I think he was really on the limit. Almost all 4 wheels on the rumble strip of the black and white. RZ Mystic still holding on to that third position. We can see from the time on the left side as well, and slowly being chased down by Lethal, Sivia, and Kokoroy. So that's going to be an interesting battle to watch for later on in this race. We're pretty much at the halfway point of the 6th lap race. All eyes still on Ethan, all eyes on Fudges Issa. Ooh, a little bit of a slip there as the rear tires go onto the rumble strip. It could get a little bit dicey sometimes, especially in wet conditions, which is not the situation we're looking at right now. Beautiful, beautiful sky. I want to talk about the weather, I want to talk about Mount Fuji, but what I really want to talk about are these drivers and these cars. Such beautiful design. I think this year's livery design for the cars, again, very unique, very special, and we have very consistent lap times as well. If we look to the right, we're looking at Fudges Issa's lap time. First lap was a little bit slower because pretty much drivers all coming out from a standing start, and you can see a 1:48 lap time, 2 laps in a row. I believe that's pretty much going to be the same lap times for Ethan as well, because of the little bit of overtaking the 2 drivers had to do with one another. And there you go, fastest sector lap time of 27 seconds by Fudges Issa. Now, if you were to rewind this live stream, you'll see that in the beginning of the previous lap, these 2 drivers were bumper to bumper. Not exactly the case anymore. Ethan seems to be losing a bit of ground. Fudges Issa seems to be pushing forward and harder a little bit. In third position, we're still looking at RZ Mystic, Lethal, Sivia in 4th, and Kokoroy in 5th. I think Mystic is slowly starting to pull away from Lethal Sivia, which is a good thing for him. And I think Lethal Sivia now is starting to have to play a little bit more defensive role instead of just chasing down position number 3. And you can see Kokoroy there coming in on the inside, coming really close, finding a spot, finding an opening to see if he could slide in between Lethal and Mystic to get into 4th position. This is the most exciting part of the circuit for many drivers, because this is also the area where if you make a mistake, you lose a position, and that almost happened. We have a bit of contact between the 2 drivers, and I think Kokoroy took 4th position and managed to nudge Lethal Sivia out into 5th place. Very good, clean overtake. I mean, well, there was a little bit of contact. We'll see if the stewards have anything to say about that. In my humble opinion, it seems to be just normal racing incident, and I don't think any of those drivers deserve a penalty, but hey, I'm not a steward for this race. Okay, cameras back on to our race leader, Fudges Issa, who is in first position, 6/10 of a second ahead of Ethan already here in lap number 5. Again, like I said earlier at the start of this race, Ethan is not going to give up. He's going to try to keep pushing. Of course, the question is, will his pushing be fast enough? We look at the lap times. Fudges Issa had a 1:48 lap time. That's the fastest well, it's consistently fast, let me just put it that way. We're now on board inside the GR Supra, with Ethan. We're on board to the final, no, to the hairpin. This is one tricky corner because any slight mistake on any driver and it would cost dearly. Every millisecond counts, and that's what these drivers at the top of their game, they understand this fully. I want to talk about the dashboard. Look at how cool that dashboard is. I've always been intrigued with Supras and how their dashboard makes you feel like you're driving or flying a fighter jet, or in this case driving a supercar, and that's what these drivers are doing. I'm pretty sure Ethan's not looking at the dash, he's looking at the car ahead of him. He's looking at the circuit, making sure he's using the full width of the circuit, and you can tell, there we go. The drivers are indeed using that full width of the circuit because that gives them the most amount of grip and traction, especially needed in these corners, this hairpin segment of the chicane segment rather of Fuji Speedway. Game Boy Han in 11th, Douglas Lim in 12th position. We're not forgetting these drivers. I think there's a bit of a competition between these two drivers here. There's one thing I love about the Toyota Gazoo Racing eSports Championship Series, because every participant, it doesn't matter what position they're in, they are giving their 101%. They're giving it their all. And I think there's no driver here on this top 12 list who's giving it more than Fudges Issa here as they enter turn 1 for the final time of this race here at Fuji Speedway. Final race 1. And Fudges Issa is pulling a little bit more ahead. I think there's almost a 1 second gap between the two drivers now. And I'm not going to say it's cast in stone yet, because anything could happen. I've seen some miracles happen for some drivers, final corner or final laps. But let's see how this pans out as the drivers come in to this very technical portion of Fuji Speedway. Beautifully executed masterclass in how to delicately balance weight transfer in these cars. And these drivers, I've seen this driver's footwork. If you ever have a chance to check out their footwork, right foot on the gas, left foot on the brake, and it's like a ballet dance as they manipulate those pedals to bring the optimal performance in these Supra, in these machines. Here on to the final 3 corners of Fuji Speedway. Race leader almost from start to finish, except for the little bit where Ethan managed to take it away from him. Fudges Issa now completing the final corner, in and out. Beautiful. Oof. Once again, very close. This is not the time to get a penalty. You're so close to the finish line. No penalty awarded. That means it was clean. You can see the checker flag out already. And race 1 goes to Fudges Issa as he crosses the start-finish line in spectacular fashion. Ethan in 2nd, Kokoroy in 3rd, Lethal Sivia in 4th, Mystic in 5th. Is there a battle for 5th to the finish line? No, so very close. JZ rather in 6th position. Fujiwara takes it for 7th. HKM80 in 8th. Kui Pao in 9th. Mariana Works in 10th, and it seems like the battle between these two drivers have cooled down, as there was, I think, a penalty for Douglas Lim. As you can see, the car slow down during this final segment. And finishing it up in 12th position, Douglas Lim. And there we have it, our results for the finals race 1. Fudges Issa with 1st position, Ethan Yeo in 2nd, Amirul in 3rd, Regis Tay in 4th, Hugo Clinton in 5th, Jarrett in 6th, John Wong 7th, Hakimi in 8th, Firdaus in 9th, in 10th, Faris, 11th position goes to Dan Tan, and 12th position goes to Douglas Lim. So here are our points standing. Now, like I mentioned at the start, the objective is to accumulate as much points as possible. It's not cast in stone yet, because for race 2 that happens later, we don't know if any of the drivers will be coming in 1st position, 2nd position, or 3rd position. And so we'll have to wait to find out. I was certainly at the edge of my seat for that first race. 1 down, 2 to go. As many of you may already know, the top 3 finalists from today will get a chance to represent Singapore in the Asia Finals, which will be held in Thailand, Bangkok. So the next 2 races are really crucial for them to score as many points as possible for this chance to win not just the cash prize and the bragging rights, but also a paid trip to compete against all the other top drivers in Asia. Now, while they prepare themselves for the upcoming race over at Watkins Glen International Circuit, I too have another exciting giveaway for all of you who are watching our live stream. This time, and let me just pull this from under the table. I'm going to make this a traditional annual tradition for pulling things under the table. This time round, a chance to win a highly coveted GR Supra Lego set. Are you ready? Let's just put this here. Here's a tough one. When did the Toyota Gazoo Racing eSports GT Championship first start? Now, I'm not allowed to give you the answer because what's the point if I give you the answer? But here's a hint. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to do it this way. I don't think it was 2019, and I don't think it was 2021. So, okay, so it seems like some of you you guys have really fast fingers. I could see on the screen some of you are already typing in the answers, and I'm going to say yes. I see the correct answer in the comments section below, so good luck. Once again, thank you for your participation, and the winner will be announced on Toyota Singapore's social channels on the 22nd of September. So good luck to all you guys who are already typing. Ooh, it's still coming in. Awesome. All right, we are ready to move on to Finals Race 2. This is where the drivers will be competing in the Toyota Gazoo Racing Supra GR3 race car, basically a GT3 spec, and they will be competing at Watkins Glen's long course circuit. This is a 5.42 kilometer circuit with 15 corners. Oh, there we go. We are in qualifying already. And camera now on Lethal Sivia in 5th, JZ in 6th. Let's look at some of the lap times here. Okay, no surprises there. Fudges is anonymous once again leading this qualifying session. 1 minute 47.122 lap time. They are on to the final lap of this very, very technical circuit. With a penalty there for Douglas Lim. I think I saw a 1.5 second penalty, so that would be pretty much the last chance gone for him to get a better lap time. This is the final lap after all, so he was probably going to return into the pits. Mariana Works now, camera on him. 2.3 seconds behind our race lead, our qualifying lead rather. And pretty impressive lap time there as well. Let's take a look at the list. Ethan in 2nd, Kokoroy in 3rd. I think we're starting to see a little bit of a trend happening there as well. These two drivers already fighting each other in the race. Is that a battle, or is HKM80 blocking RZ Mystic during a flying lap? I think that might be what is happening. Okay, we'll get a full picture. We'll get a full story at a later time. Fujiwara here, I guess, slowing down already, knowing that the lap time that he has clocked will probably be the best, and maybe conserve some energy, conserve some focus, because they're going to race really, really soon into race 2 of this year's championship. I talked briefly during the earlier race about the livery. I'll talk more about that later. Here we have our qualifying results. Fadris Isla in 1st position, Ethan Yo in 2nd, Amirul in 3rd, Jared in 4th, Hugo Clinton in 5th, Regis Tay in 6th, Douglas Lim 7th, Firdaus 8th, Faris in 9th, Dan Tan 10th, Hakimi in 11th, and John Wong in 12th position. That's basically your starting grid for race 2 finals of this year's championship. And here we go. We are on the start line of this 7-lap race. 5.4, I believe, kilometers circuit, but they are in a GT3 car. This is a Toyota Supra, and they will be traveling much faster. Here we go, lights are red, and will lights go green? So there we go, lights go green. We are racing here at Watkins Glen International Circuit. Beautiful clean start, all 12 drivers getting off to a clean start with no contact, at least not yet, as they come into turn 1. Fudges is hugging on to that outside line. Ethan on the inside, not able to push any advantage there. A little bit of battle there starting already for 5th position, I believe. The two cars that are already going side by side very early on in this race, rather. Cameras now on Fudges Issa. Again, like I said earlier, beautiful livery. I'd like to congratulate the person who designed the livery. I think they look absolutely phenomenal. Really brings out the character and the lines of the Supra. Makes the car look even more aggressive and angry than it is. But at this very moment, there's no one more aggressive. There is no one more angry, and there's no one more hungry for that coveted top position than the person leading the race right now. That is Fudges Issa Anonymous. We're now on board with Ethan as they come into the last couple of corners of Watkins Glen. Very technical part of the circuit. Again, that little U-turn-ish hairpin, if you may, right turn and right bend. Coming into this final really tight corner, they have to brake really accurately in order to bring just the right amount of speed in and out of that corner, because if you do it a little bit too early, a little bit too late, you tend to lose time, and that time would fade away in front of you very quickly if you have a fast driver in front of you. And that is exactly the situation that we saw Ethan in right there and there when we were on board in the cockpit with him. I don't think it was a mistake, but it seemed like there was a little bit of time lost during the exit of that corner. But we're still early in the race. This is only the end of lap 1. We still have another 6 laps to go. Cameras now on RZ Mystic in 6th position as they come in to the first corner. I think the battle for 3rd is starting to heat up already. The drivers seem to be much closer than they were towards the at this very moment as compared to the end of the first lap. And so it seems like they have kind of split up. There does seem to be a little bit of an issue for the last driver. Might have been a little bit of an incident. We missed that. On board now with RZ Mystic. Beautiful, I think, fastest sector timing just clocked by this driver we are on board with. RZ Mystic. Beautiful job. Well done. A little bit of traffic there. Lethal Sivia in 5th position, right in the way of the perfect line for Mystic. And there we go, coming in onto the inside. They are side by side. Ooh, it's so exciting. Here you go. The beautiful outside view of the two drivers. Lethal pushing a little bit of contact against and holding on to that inside line, hugging it, denying Mystic that 5th position. It's going to be an interesting battle between these two drivers. We have another best sector time as well. There, I think it was 1 minute flat. And Mystic, this battle for 5th. Getting exciting. Battle for 2nd, even more exciting. Seems like Fudges Issa has lost that 1st position, dropped down to 3rd. Ethan in 2nd. Jay Zeddy in 2nd, rather. Ethan in 1st. What happened there? I have no idea. Now, Fudges Issa would be furious if it was him who caused a mistake to himself, or if it was any incident that we didn't get a chance to see. But all that doesn't matter, because right now he is 100% focused on ensuring that he bring it home in the top position. 2nd is not good enough for this driver. 3rd is definitely not good enough, and the only way to put a smile on his face would be at the top step of that podium, as you see him now on the inside, taking 2nd position away from Jay-Z. Does he hold on to it? Not yet. Jay-Z still able to hold on to 2nd. No, not that much longer. Fudges is now reclaiming 2nd position that was taken away from him from Jay-Z. Beautiful driving from both drivers. I think Jay-Z did a fantastic job trying to block Fudges Issa from taking that 2nd position, but there are certain rules. The stewards will be keeping an eye out. You cannot consecutively block the driver behind you, I believe, more than 3 times. I think that's the limit. And now Ethan trying to pull away due to that battle between Fudges Issa and JZ. Question is, Ethan was able to pull a little bit away, but is it enough? This is lap 3 of a 7-lap race here at Watkins Glen International Circuit, and our pole driver is now in 2nd position. Kokoroi in 4th. Seems to be slowly reeling in JZ. Now, I'm not sure if JZ was, if too much tires were, if there's tire degradation that is slowly kicking in already, because it is turned on for all the races. And Kokoroi now may be able to exploit a little bit of that. That might have been a result of JZ's battle between himself and Fudris Issa earlier on in this lap. All those defensive moves might have taken a bit of a toll on his tires. And we're going to see towards the end of this race, the last 2 laps, especially when the tire degradation really kicks in, and these drivers will need to delicately bring their machines to the limit, but, well, delicately. We're now on board with Kokoroi, and you can see that the lap time between himself and JZ seems to be pretty consistent. I don't think there's any gain at the moment, so maybe just waiting for the right moment to pounce, waiting for the right moment to attack, waiting to see if JZ makes any mistakes at all, and we'll see how that goes in a little bit more. Lethal in 5th, Mystic in 6th, Douglas Lim in 7th, Game Boy Han in 8th position. But yeah, camera seems to be very focused on Kokoroi at this moment. I have to once again comment the livery. It really looks cool. What is your favorite color, by the way, for those of you who are watching this live stream from the comforts of your home? I hope you're not in the office, but if you're watching this in the office, then good luck. So yeah, tell me, put it in the comments, which is your favorite livery color, the red, the white, or the black? My personal favorite is the red, and that is the color of the car that Ethan is driving, who is currently leading this race. The gap between himself and Fudris Issa is slowly closing. That means either Ethan is slowing down or Fudris Issa is catching up, or maybe a little bit of both, and I suspect that is the case between these 2 drivers. Will Fudris Issa be able to reclaim that 1st position, or will Ethan take this lead from mid-race all the way to the end? Now, we know he needs those points. He wants those points. 20 points for 1st position, 15 for 2nd. Fudris Issa has 20 points already from race 1. Ethan has 15 points from race 2. So if this is how we see the race end, Ethan in 1st and Fudris Issa in 2nd, then race 3 finale would be amazing, because then these 2 drivers would probably be pushing a little bit beyond their comfort zone, pushing a little bit beyond their limits, and in order to try to win this year's championship. Now, that's something, like I mentioned earlier at the start of this live stream, that's something that Toyota Gazoo Racing believes in, and that's part of their ethos, is pushing the limits and to build ever better cars. The reason why these drivers are able to drive so well and so consistently is also because these cars are built so well and so consistently. Okay, so we had Fudris Issa there with another purple timing, purple sector timing, so fastest sector timing of the race so far. But the gap between these 2 drivers still about half a second, 5/10 of a second, 6/10 of a second, 4/10 of a second. So it's pretty consistent. So there may be a chance for Ethan to actually hang on to this race lead all the way from mid-race to end. All right, there's a penalty there, I think, for driver number 9th position driver Douglas Lim. I think that was a bit of yellow. Yes, there we go. You can see a penalty. I think that's a 0.5 second penalty that's kicking in right now. Game Boy Han now in 7th position, I believe. He took the position away from HKM 80, probably during the later half, the mid half of that lap. This is lap number 5 rather, as we move on to the final corner for these 2 drivers as we enter into lap number 6 of 7. Still a half-second gap. Oof, a little bit of a wriggle there from Fudris. We saw it on the onboard camera view. We're now in the cockpit with him, braking really late, bringing it much closer now. 0.3 of a second, 0.2 of a second gap between the 2 drivers, using the full width of the circuit as always. These drivers know exactly what they're doing. They've done this they've done this lap probably a gazillion times, driving for them, racing for them at this circuit in these cars. Probably already muscle memory, and what makes the difference is what actually happens during the race. And you can see that happening in real time. That was your slipstream advantage. And but right before a very technical chicane, and I think Fudges Issa was able to catch Ethan and give Ethan a fair amount of pressure, but not enough. Ethan still holding on strong to the race lead there in first position, unfazed by Fudges Issa, as they like to say in the commentary box. I'm not sure which commentary box I'm talking about. I'm talking about the one I'm in right now. All right, we are now on to the final couple of corners, final sector of lap number 6 here at Watkins Glen International Circuit. Race leader is Ethan Yeo for the better half of this race. Fudges Issa in second, JZ in third, Kokoroy in fourth, Mystic in fifth, Lethal in sixth, Game Boy Han in seventh, Douglas Lim in eighth. It seems like Douglas was able to take 8th position, and I believe HKM 80 must have dropped further back. All eyes now onto these two drivers into the final corner here at Watkins Glen, or as the Americans like to say, they just call it the Glen. So here we are at the Glen, and into the final lap. A lot of pressure building up there for Ethan, holding on to that position really, really well. Fudges Issa still trying to apply maximum pressure in the rearview mirror of Ethan. But like I said earlier, for the previous 3 laps at least, Ethan Yeo is unfazed by Fudges Issa, unafraid, and completely committed to trying to bring his machine to cross the start-finish line before anybody else in this final lap of race 2. Here we go, technical part of the circuit. Chicane, left, right, all the way, all wheels taking the rumble strip without pushing the track limits too much. In fact, no penalties, beautiful, perfectly executed. And we're now on board with Fudges Issa. Here comes the tight part, and a little bit of wriggle, very, very, very minor wriggle there, rear wheels of Ethan. This is definitely due to tire degradation. These tires by now would be worn out. I think they turn on to 10X if I'm not mistaken. And so these tires are worn out. Drivers are running low on fuel. I've seen examples where the drivers run out of fuel before they cross the start-finish line, so they do need to be calculated perfectly. They do need to drive their machines to the limit perfectly. Here is an opportunity for Fudges Issa. Is he going to be diving in to the inside? No, he's just going to stick like glue, bumper to bumper. Ooh, a little bit of oversteer there on Fudges Issa on the exit of that corner. Still not slowing him down, still able to push maximum pressure onto Ethan Yeo, but Ethan Yeo now coming into the final corner of the 7-lap race 2 finals here. No contact to the wall, beautifully finished. Will there be any advantage from the slipstream? Oh my goodness, there we go, Fudges Issa. They crossed the start-finish line. Was that a win for Ethan Yeo? Was that a win for Fudges? No, Ethan Yeo takes the checkered flag in first position. Excellent driving from Fudges Issa. Unfortunately, just not good enough. Ethan Yeo managed to bring home a win for race 2. Beautiful driving from all the drivers here. JZ in third, Kokoroy in 5th, Lethal in 6th, Game Boy in 7th, HKM in 8th, Mariana Works in 9th, Douglas Lim dropping back down to 10th, Fujiwara finishing the race in 11th, and Kui Pao finishing the race in 12th position. Oh my goodness, I am at the edge of my seat. What a spectacular finish. Now, look at that gap. Look at the time difference between Ethan Yeo and Fudges Issa. That is 1,000th of a second. That is a 0.001 second difference. My hands are shaky. I'm not even kidding. Ethan Yeo finishing race 2 in the top position with 20 points. Congratulations. Fudges Issa in second, Jared in third, Hugo Clinton in fourth, Amirul in 5th, Registe in 6th, Dantan 7th, Hakimi in 8th, Faris in 9th, Douglas Lim finishing this race in 10th, John Wong in 11th, and Firdaus in 12th position. Now let's see what the points look like. Here we go. This was exactly what I was talking about during race 2. Fadris Issa leading race 1, finishing in race 2. That means 35 points for both himself and Ethan Yo. It is going to be an unbelievably spectacular race 3 later on, ladies and gentlemen. If you just joined us, welcome to the 2025 Toyota Gazoo Racing Singapore eSports GT Championship. I'm speaking as slow as I can, rather, because I'm so excited. Emerald in 3rd with 21 points. Jared in 4th, 20 points. Hugo Clinton in 5th with 19 points. Regis Tay in 6th with 18 points. Hakimi in 7th with 10 points. John Wong in 8th with 8 points. Dan Tan in 9th with 8 points. Faris bin Issa finishing in 10th with 7 points. Firdaus in 11th. And Douglas Lim with 4 points. Knife edge precision. What a battle right up to the finish line between Ethan and Fadris. I mean, I was not even sitting at the edge of my seat. I was almost standing. That was so exciting. Now we're officially 2 races into this year's national finals and are just left with one final race to determine the overall champion for the 2025 Toyota Gazoo Racing Singapore eSports GT Championship. Now, before we head into the last battle for supremacy, we will be doing our final prize giveaway, and I have to say it's definitely an exciting one. In fact, the question is so exciting, I think it's perfectly synced with the race that we have just witnessed. Good to go? Take your guess on who is going to be the final and overall winner for this year's Toyota Gazoo Racing Singapore eSports GT Championship. Drop your answers in the comments section below and we will pick one lucky winner who will get to bring home this very, very cool, and like I said earlier, I'm going to take it out from under the table, this very, very cool Toyota GR Yaris Rally 1 Hybrid Monte Carlo 1 to 18th scale model race car. I think it looks spectacular. Yeah. So if you guys want to take this home and put it on your display cabinet, all you have to do is key in the answer. Who do you think will be winning this year's race? Overall championship for the national finals. And just like before, type your answers in the comment section and we'll let you know on the 22nd of September. So remember to follow Toyota Singapore's social channels. Good luck to all of you. Alright, so the drivers will be competing in the Toyota GR010 Hypercar, and the track where they will be competing would be the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pace, better known as Interlagos. Track length of 4.309 kilometers with 15 corners. Now this is going to be the most important race for all the drivers, especially so for Ethan Yo and Fadris Issa, because whoever wins this race ahead of one another will take home this year's championship. I believe we are ready for qualifying. In fact, there we go. We are into qualifying. Let's see. This is the fourth flying lap for the drivers. That means they're coming on to the end very, very soon. On the top of that chart, no surprises anymore. This is Fadris Issa with the fastest lap time so far of 1 minute 21.433 seconds. Ethan in 2nd, JZ in 3rd, Lethal in 4th, Kokoroy in 5th. Camera now on Fadris Issa. And this is a very, very challenging circuit in my personal humble opinion. One minor mistake at any one of these corners and it will cost you dearly. And part of the reason is because just like any other racetrack, the amount of speed you bring in and out of corner A would dramatically affect your corner speed entry and exit into corner B, the following corner. So considering how connected these corners are on this circuit, every corner, every turn counts. Okay, we're on to the final lap here. Fadris Issa crossing the start-finish line for the last time during qualifying, still holding on to first position. Ethan Yo takes 2nd position. JZ takes 3rd. Good lap time there from Mariana Works, finishing in 7th. Qualifying in 7th, rather. Douglas Slim in 8th. We are just moments away from the start of the race as everything slows down. Like what they say, the calm before the storm. Okay, systems are checking now. This is your qualifying results for race 3. Fudges is with pole position with a lap time of 1 minute 21.433 seconds. Ethan Yeo is less than 0.2 of a second behind. Amirul bin Idris, who finished in 3rd, is 0.3 of a second behind Ethan Yeo. And Jarrett in 4th, Hugo Clinton in 5th, Regis Tay in 6th, Douglas Lim in 7th, Firdaus bin Bauzi in 8th, Faris bin Issa in 9th, Dan Tan in 10th, Hakimi in 11th, and John Wong wrapping it up in 12th position. That is your starting grid. That is what you see on your screens right now, ladies and gentlemen. We're moments away from the start of the final race for this year's 2025 championship. It will be an 8-lap race. These cars are super fast on this track. Lights are going red and lights will be going green very, very shortly. And away we go. We go racing here at Interlagos. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the final race for the season. And oh, beautiful dive there from Lethal into 3rd position. That was a fantastic start for him into 2nd and already battling for into 3rd rather, already battling into battling for 2nd position rather. Fudges is now taking this opportunity to pull ahead and away from this battle for 2nd. This is a fantastic opportunity for him to try to create some buffer gap between himself and Ethan. JZ there dropping from 4th. I have to say that was a spectacular start from Lethal Sevilla 5 into 3rd position. Mariana Works now on the outside. See overtaking Mystic. They're side by side, bumper to bumper. No, loses it. I think there's a little bit of contact, dropping 3 positions all the way down, I believe. Mariana Works on board with Mariana Works now in 6th position, right at the tail of Mystic. And ooh, this is getting exciting. Oh, I think that was a little bit too much. Goes out and over from that corner. Probably gonna affect the lap time a little bit. Not affecting the position that much at the moment, but that would affect the battle for 5th. We'll see how this pans out. It's an 8-lap race. This is lap number 1 for the final race 3. Fudges Issa now with a 1 second lead ahead of Ethan Yeo, dropping a little bit, but really able to leverage on the battle for 2nd earlier on. There is a penalty now kicking in for Mariana Works, dropping down to 7th. That's a 1 second penalty. That's going to hurt a lot because Fujiwara in 8th position is right behind. Kokoro in 6th, right ahead. And I think there's going to be a little bit of placement change between Mariana Works and Fujiwara. 1 second penalty, that's going to hurt a lot, especially on the circuit such as this one. Will he be able to overtake Kokoro before the penalty line and therefore build a bit of advantage after Kokoro takes it back? That might happen right now. We're seeing him on the outside, braking much later, going in, diving, oh, missing, completely going into the grass, losing that advantage. Fujiwara now on the tail, maybe even going to be overtaking Mariana Works before that penalty line, that 1 second penalty line that's going to hurt Mariana Works quite a fair bit in this race. That's going to be something that's going to live on as a bit of a regret, I'm sure, for the next few weeks or next few months until next year's 2026 championship. Cameras now back to JZ, and I believe he's trying to reel in Lethal and reclaim that 3rd position. But again, beautiful start by Lethal. I'm not sure if there was any jump start. I don't think, I think that's automatically detected by GT7, so that should have been a penalty already, I believe. I'm not too sure about that. Here we are on board with JZ coming in to that very tight and technical turn, right on the tail of Lethal Sevilla 5. I think JZ has a little bit more pace. I think JZ has a little bit more speed. And I think JZ might be able to reclaim that 3rd position. Here they go side by side right into the corner, braking a little bit earlier than Lethal. Lethal still holding on to 3rd, but how long can he hold on to that position? We're going to find out very, very shortly as they come in to this hard right turn, followed by another right turn, followed by another right hairpin. Now this is the part that separates the boys from the men. Mystic there, taking advantage of this battle for 3rd to sneak up behind JZ. You can see now that the gap is closing between 4th position and 5th position, between JZ in 4th and Mystic in 5th. Not enough for Lethal to pull away because JZ now has to do a little bit more defensive driving while still trying to attack Lethal, who is in 3rd. Sandwiched in between two very fast drivers. Question now is, like I mentioned earlier, will he be able to reclaim that position? We are into the third lap, coming towards the end of the third lap of this 8-lap race. Back to our race leader, Fajrs Issa. He's already pulling a 2-second gap lead ahead of Ethan. This is going to be a little bit excruciating for Ethan to see that lead slip away. All that hard work from race 2. How does that pan out for this championship? How does it pan out for this race? We will find out. We're halfway points basically for this race. Fajrs Issa's just pulling away with that 2-second lead and building a pretty comfortable buffer for himself ahead of Ethan. Down now to 11th spot. This is Game Boy Han. He's got a bit of track to himself and a lot of catching up to do. Good sector timing there. Best. Oh! Goes way off, goes wide. That might have been because of the much faster previous sector and braking a little bit too late because carrying a little bit too much speed into the brake zone. He's earned himself a half-second penalty. That's going to hurt. Good effort on Sector 1. Unfortunately, was not able to translate into a better lap time there as well. Okay, now camera on to HKM 80. Good sector timing there as well. Best that he has done so far for this race as we're into the halfway point. And sitting in 9th position, you can see Kui Pao there in 10th, slowly creeping in, reeling him in, as well as they say, trying to see if he could gain one position up. Marina Works now in 7th, Kokoroi in 6th, Fujiwara in 8th, and I think we're going to see some exciting battles coming on towards the end of this race. 3 laps to go. I believe these cars have much higher tire wear, and it's going to be evident again towards the end of the race, because that's when it really matters. That's when you having a good start doesn't mean everything. You need to have a good finish, and that is what is on Lethal Sivia's mind right now. He had a fantastic start. Now we're halfway point of this race, and he's still holding on to 3rd position, preventing JZ from reclaiming that spot. He just needs to finish. Oh, what happened there? I think that was a little bit tire slip. JZ takes advantage, exploits the mistake of Lethal, little slip up there, and reclaims 3rd position, just as we were talking about how it's important to be consistent and how they need to try to bring it from start to finish. Beautiful start, but unfortunately not the beautiful way for the midpoint of this race. We see how it goes. It's still a couple of laps towards the end before we see a checkered flag out for these drivers. JZ now sighing a breath of relief, I believe, as he reclaims that 3rd position. Now the question is, will he be able to pull away and hold on to that 3rd? Okay, the little bit of a commentary there between the drivers. I think it was a bit of an apology regarding some blocking between the drivers. I didn't have time to catch the full conversation. We'll have to look at what conversation they had after the race. Okay, a little bit of a tire lockup there, I believe. And Mystic now jumping up into 4th. Lethal dropping down into 5th. Was this due to the conversation they had earlier? I am not too sure. All I know is that beautiful start, now dropping down to 5th position. That's going to be a little bit of a hard pill to swallow, but this is what racing is all about. It is about giving your all for every single second. You don't even blink when you're racing at this stage, when you're racing at this level. These are, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, the 12 fastest drivers in Singapore. The top 12 for this year's championship as well. All right, cameras back on to Fajrs Issa. He's amazing, pulling off a 4.1 second gap ahead of Ethan Yo. I think Ethan Yo may have backed down a little bit. We know that Fajrs Issa is already slowly managing his tires. You can see on the right side of your screens that the lap times was consistent at 1:21 for 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 laps, and now drop down to 122 for lap number 6, and probably going to be 122 or 123 for lap number 7 if I'm not wrong. He does need to manage those tires and nurse them all the way towards the start-finish line for that checkered flag if he wants to finish in first position. If he continues to push qualifying style lap times and drive aggressively, those tires may not last him towards the end, and that would be a very painful way to see your championship disappear in front of you. Camera now on to Mariana Works, who is in 7th position. He's got a 7-second lead ahead of HKM, so he's pretty comfortable situation right now, I guess, in 7th. It's going to be a little bit hard to catch up to 6th. Oh, Game Boy Han there going also a little bit wide there with a little bit of oversteer. I'm pretty sure it is tire degradation that's kicking in for every single one of these drivers, knowing now that they do have to manage their tires a little bit better, and to make sure that they do finish the race. That's equally as important, right? Starting the race and not finishing it with a DNF. Regardless of how it ends, you want to end it across the start-finish line. Kui Pao here in 10th position. And as we move on to the final lap, Fudges is leading with that 4.6 second gap. I think it is pretty much set. I think he will be celebrating just a few seconds from now, but at this very moment it is still laser focus, especially at this tier of racing, this tier of competitive esports. These guys are sweating buckets in real life right now. I guarantee you that, regardless of how cold and how fast that AC is cranked up, it's not as fast as what these drivers are doing on the circuit. Big, huge gap between himself and Ethan Yo's, almost 5-second gap. If you look at the lap times on the right side, like I said earlier, lap number 7 was a 122. He is managing his tires. He is making sure he's able to bring the car across the start-finish line, knowing that with that 5-second gap, he could actually, in theory, slow down a little bit more, brake a little bit earlier, just to make sure that the car finishes. As he comes now onto the final corner, onto the start-finish line, just meters ahead, and there we go, ladies and gentlemen, we have your champion for 2025. Ethan Yo crosses the start-finish line as well, 5.4 seconds behind him. JZ so beautifully reclaiming that 3rd position, now crossing the start-finish line shortly after with Mystic in 4th and Kokoroy in 5th. It seems like Lethal Sivia has dropped all the way down to 6th position. Fantastic performance there, delivered as expected of new drivers who've just joined us this year. I think I have to reiterate that that was a beautiful start on his part, and unfortunately it seems like he had to drop down to 6th due to maybe some issues with other drivers. I'm not sure what's going on right now at the moment. Fujiwara now crossing the line in 9th, HKM 80X in 10th. I believe Game Boy Han there will be crossing the line in 11th position. And a beautiful driving from all 11 drivers. Thank you all for joining us. But it is not cast in stone yet. This is your provisional race results for race 3. Just like the previous 2 races, the drivers have an opportunity to lodge a protest if they feel like it was necessary to the stewards, who will then review the videos and then determine what the final results are. But at the moment, the provisional results, your provisional champion winner for 2025 is Fudges Issa. In 2nd place, Ethan Yo. In Jared Zulkifly in 3rd position, Hugo Clinton in 4th, Amirul in 5th, Registe in 6th, Faris in 7th, Firdaus in 8th, John Wong in 9th, Hakimi in 10th, Dantan 11th, DNF for Douglas Lim. Race did not finish for him. Not sure what happened. Sometimes these kind of things happen when you have connectivity issues and or maybe even electrical issues. And so the driver may not have been able to complete the race. But here we have our provisional results for race 3. I think it's going to be moments away till we see the points standing. So here we are. This is the points for the 2025 Toyota Gazoo Racing Singapore eSports GT Championship. And the championship winner goes to Fudges Issa with a grand total of 60 points. Ethan Yo finishing it with 53 points. Jared with 35, Hugo with 31, Emerald with 31, Registe with 26, Faris with 13, Hakimi with 13, John Wong with 12, Firdaus with 10, Dantan with 6 points, Douglas Lim with 6 points. Now let's see if there are any protests and comments from the drivers, because as we witnessed earlier during the race, there was, it seems like there is a change there. That was between Registe and Emerald. So Registe was in 6th and now jumps up to 5th with a 28 point lead, with Emerald dropping down to 6th position with 27 points. Now I believe that was between Lethal, Sylvia 5 and Kokoroy, and I believe the stewards will announce to the drivers in the group chat exactly what happened. This might have been result from the conversation that we briefly saw during the race between the drivers, and there might have been a bit of blocking, a little bit of contact. And like I mentioned during race 1, that there is a limitation to how many times drivers are allowed to physically change position of their vehicle to block the vehicle behind. And that might have been what happened. We'll find out later. But there you go, ladies and gentlemen, we have our champion for 2025. On the top spot of the podium, Fudges is first place winner. Second place goes to Ethan Yo and Jared Zulkifly in third position. Now these drivers will be representing Singapore in Bangkok, Thailand for the Asian finals, and I believe that happens sometime in October. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of our live stream. We've come to the end of our broadcast. What an exciting race weekend it has been for all of us here at Toyota Gazoo Racing Singapore. We thank you so much for joining us. Please do remember to like, follow, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, to our Facebook channel, to our TikTok account, to our Instagram handle as well. And this live stream is coming out to you live on Facebook and TikTok. And if you like your family and friends rather, to relive the action, and if you want to support us, more importantly, if you want to support all 12 drivers who competed tonight, do share this live stream so that all your friends on social media will get to relive all the action as well. My name is Hong. Thank you so very much for joining us in the 2025 edition of this year's race, and we'll see you in 2026.